The 2026 Ford Explorer EV is one of those cars that instantly makes you stop and think, okay, this is the direction the future is heading. It's the familiar nameplate you've known for decades, but with a completely new heart beating inside. For years, the Explorer has been one of the most recognizable family SUVs in America, and now Ford has decided to give it a full electric makeover. And let me tell you, the way they've done it feels both familiar and brand new at the same time. Imagine taking something you've always loved and then seeing it reimagined with a modern twist. That's exactly what the 2026 Ford Explorer EV is all about. When you first walk up to it, the exterior design is probably the first thing that hits you. Ford has given the Explorer EV a sleek, modern look that immediately sets it apart from its gas-powered cousins. The front end ditches the traditional grille for a smooth, aerodynamic face with a subtle LED light bar stretching across, giving it this futuristic yet approachable vibe. The headlights are sharp and narrow, almost like a pair of eyes peering forward with confidence, and the sculpted hood lines bring just enough muscle to remind you that this is still an Explorer at heart. The side profile keeps that classic SUV stance, tall, commanding with a strong shoulder line, but with flush door handles that pop out when you walk up. Even the wheels, which you'll likely see in sizes ranging from 19 to 21 inches, are aerodynamically optimized, so they look stylish but also help improve efficiency. And at the back, the taillights stretch across with a bold, modern look, giving you that distinctive electric SUV identity. It's one of those designs that balances rugged family practicality with just enough flair to make you feel a little proud pulling into the driveway. Now, open the door and you'll see where Ford really tried to make the 2026 Explorer EV stand out. The interior feels like a cross between a tech lounge and a family living room. Right away, your eyes go to the massive center touchscreen. It's vertically oriented, almost like a giant tablet planted in the middle of the dash. We're talking about 15 inches of crisp, high-resolution display that controls everything from navigation to climate to entertainment. But don't worry, Ford has also left some physical buttons and knobs for the basics, like volume and drive modes, so you don't have to dig through menus just to adjust simple things. The digital driver display behind the steering wheel is equally impressive, with customizable layouts that can show you your speed, range, navigation, or even a minimalist view if you just want the basics while driving. The cabin materials are noticeably upgraded from older Explorers. You'll find soft touch surfaces, sustainable fabric options, and available leather trims if you want to go a little more premium. There's ambient lighting that you can set to your mood, and plenty of clever storage spaces tucked throughout. In fact, because this is an EV, you also get a front trunk, which adds even more practicality. Families are going to love this because not only do you still get 3 rows of seating, but you've got extra cargo room up front for groceries, backpacks, or whatever else life throws your way. The second row is spacious with sliding and reclining seats, and the third row is surprisingly usable for kids or shorter adults, making it a true family hauler. And for tech-savvy passengers, every row gets USB-C ports, cup holders, and access to storage pockets. Ford clearly thought about how real families would use this thing every single day. Now let's talk about what really matters with an EV, performance and range. The 2026 Ford Explorer EV is coming with an estimated range of up to 300 miles on a full charge. That's competitive with rivals like the Tesla Model Y and Hyundai Ioniq 7. And for most families, it means you can handle the weekly commute, school runs, and even a weekend road trip without stressing about charging constantly. Ford says the Explorer EV will be available in both rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive configurations. So whether you're someone who sticks to city streets or someone who needs confidence in snow and rougher conditions, you've got options. The base model comes with a single motor producing around 300 horsepower, while the dual-motor AWD version cranks things up closer to 400 horsepower, giving it plenty of muscle for highway merging or towing. Yes, that's right, the Explorer EV can still tow. Depending on the setup, you're looking at up to 5,000 pounds of towing capacity, which means boats, campers, or small trailers are still fair game. Acceleration is surprisingly strong too. In the AWD version, you're looking at 0 to 60 in around 5.5 seconds. Now, that's not Mustang Mach-E GT levels of performance, but it's more than enough for an SUV of this size. And because of the instant torque that EVs deliver, the Explorer EV feels zippy and responsive in everyday driving. Even when you're loaded up with kids, pets, and gear, it never feels sluggish. Plus, the low center of gravity, thanks to the battery pack being mounted under the floor, gives the Explorer EV a stable, planted feel in corners. It doesn't lean around like some traditional SUVs, which makes it more comfortable and confidence-inspiring to drive. Speaking of comfort, Ford has worked hard on making the ride quality smooth and quiet. Since it's electric, you don't have engine noise, but they've also packed in extra sound insulation to block out wind and road noise. So whether you're cruising on the highway or creeping through traffic, the cabin stays calm and peaceful. And here's something you'll love. Ford's Blue Cruise hands-free driving system is available on the 2026 Explorer EV. On supported highways, you can actually take your hands off the wheel while the car handles steering, acceleration, and braking. It's not fully autonomous, of course, you still need to pay attention, but for long drives, it really helps reduce fatigue. Charging is another key piece of the puzzle, and Ford knows this. With fast charging capability, the Explorer EV can add about 150 miles of range in just 20 minutes at a DC fast charger. That's the kind of convenience families need when they're on a road trip. And at home with a level 2 charger, you can easily recharge overnight. Plus, Ford is part of the expanding network that gives drivers access to Tesla's superchargers in the US, which means finding a place to plug in will be easier than ever. Of course, no family SUV would be complete without safety features, and the Explorer EV packs in plenty. You've got automatic emergency braking, lane keeping assist, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, adaptive cruise control, and even a 360-degree camera system for parking. Ford knows parents care about keeping their families safe, and it shows. On top of that, there are advanced driver attention monitoring systems, which gently alert you if it senses you're getting distracted or drowsy. It's the kind of tech that quietly works in the background, but gives you peace of mind every time you drive. Now, you're probably wondering about price. Ford hasn't positioned the 2026 Explorer EV as a luxury-only option. Instead, they've tried to make it relatively affordable for the segment. The base model is expected to start around $48,000, with higher trims climbing into the mid-$60,000 range depending on options. When you factor in potential federal or state EV incentives, the price becomes even more appealing. Compared to something like the Tesla Model Y or Kia EV9, the Explorer EV hits a sweet spot of being both family-friendly and budget-conscious. Of course, no car is perfect, and the 2026 Ford Explorer EV has its pros and cons. On the plus side, you've got a trusted nameplate that families already know and love, combined with modern EV performance, a 300-mile range, great interior space, and advanced technology like Blue Cruise. On the downside, it's not the most daring design in its class, and some rivals offer slightly longer ranges or quicker acceleration. Plus, depending on where you live, charging infrastructure may still be a consideration. But overall, for families who want to step into the electric future without giving up space, comfort, and practicality, the Explorer EV makes a really strong case for itself. So what's the final verdict? I'd say the 2026 Ford Explorer EV strikes a perfect balance. It's familiar yet fresh, powerful yet efficient, and practical without being boring. It feels like Ford has taken everything people loved about the Explorer over the years and updated it for a new generation that cares about sustainability, technology, and convenience. Whether you're upgrading from an older SUV or considering your very first EV, the Explorer EV is one of those vehicles that deserves a serious look. Wait till you hear people in the neighborhood talking about it. You'll notice the mix of curiosity and excitement, because this SUV really is the start of something new. So there you have it. A closer look at the 2026 Ford Explorer EV, the affordable family SUV with up to 300 miles of range. If you enjoyed this review and want to stay up to date on the latest car news and reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.